Hey everybody, welcome back. So I guess you can see what I'm up to in this video. I have found some figurines I like, a driver and a passenger, and I have them printed. And as you can see, I printed different sizes and out of different materials. And I've got them the way I like them. Now I had to do some adjustments. As you can see on this guy, this guy is smaller than this guy, but I still had to cut his feet off to get him to sit down in the chair. This guy here, I decided I wanted his feet on him, so I cut about I cut about half of his lower legs out and glued his feet back on. Now the passenger character I really like, but she's missing a foot, and I don't know why. That's just how the model was, and I have thought about loading it into something like Mesh Mixer, plain cutting everything off but the foot, printing the foot and gluing another foot on. But once it's inside, you're never going to see that. That's never ever going to be visible. So I'm probably just going to leave it alone. So now I got to print it, or excuse me, I got to paint it. They turned out really nice. I'm happy with them, but yeah, I've got to paint them. And I've got the paints in the back, and I picked up one that would give me a reasonable skin tone, at least if I want to make it look like myself and my wife, which is the plan. And of course, my painting skills are really awful, so I do not expect these to look good. But with the body on it, I don't think it's really going to be noticeable. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. I thought about getting the airbrush out and just airbrushing on all of the skin tone color, because there is quite a bit of it on the passenger character, not much of it on the male, face, neck, and forearms and hands. But I don't know. To do that, I mean that's a lot more work, because I've got to get the airbrush out, got to make sure it works. It's been a year more since I've used it. I'm sure it still does. Can't do it inside, so I have to go out where, someplace like one of my shops where it's hot, and I don't want to, so I don't think I'm gonna. Anyway, that's my plan for right now. I'm gonna come back when they are painted, or I might show you a couple steps along the way so we can all laugh at my horrible painting skills together. So there you go. That's not a bad start. It's far better than I thought I was going to do. I figured I was going to have paint all over me, everything. I didn't do them sitting in the chair, in the seats there. Of course, I took them out and held them, but that's me and paint. Normally, it's everywhere, and this time it's not. So I'm happy. I'll have you all know that I was fully expecting to come back after painting these with an impression of Jeremy Clarkson saying, "Still could be worse." But you know something? It turned out stupidly good. Now, let's be clear. I'm blonde. Well, I'm gray now, but I was blonde when I was young. My hair was never that color. My wife was blonde for a number of years because she dyed her hair blonde, and once her hair was actually close to being that color, but she hated it. But still, it's not worse. I'm actually quite pleased with that. There's still a little wet in places because I did some touch up. Let's see if I can lower the body down on it carefully and kind of see how it's going to look with the body in place. I'd say, you know what? It could have been a lot worse, because you can't even hardly really see them. Anyway, I'm actually stupidly pleased with that. My next step, obviously, is I'm going to have to glue them down. And I'd like to find a better way to mount the interior in it than simply gluing it in place. I might wind up doing that, but I would like to find some way a little bit better. I don't want to put... I'm wondering if this body isn't thick enough in here to put a, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Going to have to think about it. I may put a, nah, it's not going to work either. I keep coming up with ideas, and before I can even say what they are, I keep telling myself it's not going to work. Going to have to think about it. Maybe I can print little tabs and glue them on one side and just use screws on the other. But I'm going to have to wait and see till these dry, get them glued in, and then I'll start trying to engineer some type of mounting system for the interior. So it's making me nuts that the passenger doesn't have a foot. Now I know once the body is on, everything is together, you'll never see it, but I'll know it's there, and it's making me nuts. So I printed a foot and I painted it. Unfortunately, I have already glued the model in, so now I have to figure out how I'm going to glue that on there. Okay, the lack of a foot on the passenger was making me nuts, so I printed one and I got it in there. And of course I'd already glued the model down, so I couldn't really get it on or as painted as well as I would like. You've heard of a 10-foot paint job? Well, that's a 10-foot foot. As long as you're back the equivalent of 10 scale inches, that foot looks fine. Plus, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. It was just one of those things that was kind of eating at me. And if you'll notice, I also kind of put a little bit of a face and eyeballs on them. Not perfect by any means, but their faces look so bland I couldn't stand it anymore. So I used a very fine point Sharpie. This one here, very fine point Sharpie to do the pupils, and then I gave her some lips just with a regular red Sharpie. Lips are important, so are eyeballs, as having 2 feet is important. And I put the steering wheel and shaft in. I don't really like that steering wheel and shaft, but you know what? Again, you're not going to see the bloody thing. Only way you're going to see much of these characters is if I ever decide to remove the top, you know, or have the top be removable, I guess I should say. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I've got to figure out some way to mount the body, and I have been sitting here with the body. I don't mean mount the body, I mean mount the interior in the body, and I've kind of been sitting here looking at different ways to do it, and they're glued in, so I should be able to do this and that. Let me move the camera, sorry for the noise you're about to hear. And I've been kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, and nothing I come up with I like. I really don't want to glue it in. I would really like it to be able to come apart fairly easy. Then I got the bright idea, since the body mounts to the bumpers, and the bumpers, let me move the camera again, the body mounts to the bumpers and the bumpers push over the frame, and once they're screwed on, the body can't go anywhere. So why don't I see if I can't mount the interior onto the frame? And I can't imagine how hard that would be. Honestly, it doesn't look like it would be that hard at all. And then when I sit the body down over and screw the body down, the whole thing should be solid. And then to work on the interior, all I have to do is remove the body. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on next. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for enjoying my 10-foot foot and my fabulous paint job. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.